Good day, everyone. Wherever you are in your part of the world, I hope all is well. Again, I want to send thoughts and positive energy to the Caribbean islands, who's just gotten hit hard by or getting hit hard by Hurricane Beryl. So I'm sending thoughts and positive energy to all the inhabitants of the Caribbean islands. Now you see the title on the screen. CDC confirms fourth human case of infection with 50% mortality rate as fears rise over new pandemic. Let's get into this article. So the fourth human case of bird flu linked to the ongoing multi-state outbreak in the U.S. has been confirmed. The human case of the H5N1 strain of bird flu was identified in Colorado, reports the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. It comes after 2 cases were confirmed in Michigan and 1 in Texas. Now, if you subscribe to this channel, you've been keeping up with my videos, you know I've been following this. I have quite a few videos on bird flu and the different strains of bird flu. They have an H5N1 as well as an H5N2. There was a male in Mexico who is now deceased because of I believe it was a different strain of bird flu. I believe it was the H5N2 variation or strain of the bird flu. All right, that's not mentioned here yet in this article. They're just talking about cases here in the U.S. But as this is ongoing, I'm starting to wonder. This looking like it's planned to me. This is looking like it's planned. I've been voicing my opinion about this. Because they stay busy and active in their labs and their laboratories, taking the different the flu strain and if the flu is just a different variation of the common cold. And they've been taking they've taken the flu and made different strains and seeing how it affect different animals and so in my opinion, I believe this is what they're doing, and this is all a part of their plan. All right. Now, yesterday I recorded a video on the fly. I was outside walking, and I was talking about some information I watched on JWTV, and one of the info he was talking about was these New York City quarantine camps. And they got these camps set up in New York City where they had the migrants. Now some of them are alleged empty, and they're going to use that space for quarantine camps. Now there's people talking and speaking about this online, about New York City quarantine camps, how they could just go over and take someone who's suspected of being ill and place them in these quarantine camps involuntarily. Now, I said in the video yesterday that, I didn't get a chance to properly vet that and look into that because I was outside. I just did a quick video on the fly. But as I'm looking into this, I'm seeing that New York City quarantine camps is false. There was a bill, but the bill was never passed, supposedly. But I'm seeing that it's false. But there are U.S. military quarantine camps, though. Okay, and I'll get into that a little later after I read this article and share that information. So let's continue with this article. As with the previous cases, the patient is a dairy farm worker who came into contact with cows that tested positive for the H5N1 strain of bird flu or avian influenza. The person reported eye symptoms only, received also tamivir and antiviral treatment, and has recovered, the CDC reports. Asleep at the wheel? The latest confirmed infection has not prompted the CDC to change its current H5N1 bird flu human health risk assessment for the U.S. general public, which the agency considers to be low. Others are less sanguine. Since the first mammal to human spread of the virus was confirmed back in April, health officials have raised concerns that the world is hurtling towards a pandemic far worse than COVID. This fear was crystallized in June after it was confirmed that a 59-year-old man in Mexico died with the strain of bird flu H5N2. I just spoke about that. This was the first ever recorded death linked to this type of bird flu, but history sets some worrying precedents. Between January 2003 and March 28, 2024, WHO, or the World Health Organization, reported 888 human cases of bird flu infection, and 52% were fatal, according to the organization's latest report. Now, let me pause there. You see, bird flu is nothing new, right? There's been cases of bird flu going back years. There was even a movie that I watched not too long ago. It's not a new movie. It's an older movie where the movie's talking about bird flu. Right? So this is nothing new, okay? Thankfully, there have been no confirmed cases of human-to-human transmission. Yet, again, it's my suspicions that this is them staying busy in their laboratories, and that may be their goal, if I'm correct, is to work this strain and strengthen the strain to where it becomes human to human, and they can have their pandemic and you know, all part of their depopulation program. If you don't know nothing about that, look into that. But this is my suspicions, okay? You can look into it and do your own research and come to your own conclusions. Let's continue with the article. But most infectious diseases are caused by viruses circulating in animals at first. And when these cross over into humans, a process known as zoonosis, they can cause disease outbreaks, epidemics, and pandemics such as Ebola, flu, or COVID-19. See, and there you have it. Just like I said, they work these strains in their laboratory first with animals, and then they keep working the strains until it becomes, animal to humans, and then over time, human to human. According to the CDC, the spread of the virus among cows is a sign that it could mutate in them, potentially making it easier for the virus to spread to other animals and make the leap to humans. Should it make the jump to humans, the death rate could be far higher than that seen during the height of the COVID pandemic. Robert Redfield, the former director of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, puts the mortality rate from bird flu at somewhere between 25 and 50%. In contrast, COVID-19 had a mortality rate of 0.6%. Redfield's prediction may be an overestimate, reckons Yale Medicine infectious diseases specialist Scott Roberts, adding that there may be cases where people have no symptoms, or only mild symptomatic, or haven't sought care for their symptoms. He also noted that if the virus did spread in humans, the percentage might be significantly lower if preventive approaches, including a vaccine and treatments, were made widely available. Be careful with those vaccines, right? Come up with something, next thing you know, bam, there's a vaccine all of a sudden. Like I said, my suspicions are part of their plan, right? But let's get into, where is it? So like I said earlier in this video, like I stated about this New York City quarantine camps. Now, looking into it, I'm seeing a lot of reports stating that it's false. All right, the claims of New York City having quarantine camps is false. All right, let me go back for a second. And it says false. New York State has not set up quarantine camps and does not plan to. Expert told us the disputed rule allows the state to quarantine or isolate people who have been exposed to or have been diagnosed with a serious illness. All right, I'm seeing these reports are saying it's false. Now, this is going back all the way to 2021, 2023. Okay, so this is something I put in 2024, and I've yet to see anything this year talking about this. Okay. Let's go over here. So it says false. New York Governor Kathy Hochul is not trying to create quarantine camps where people can be held against their will if they have COVID-19 or other diseases. Critics have misinterpreted a temporary rule adopted during the COVID-19 pandemic. This rule outlines powers for state health officials to isolate or quarantine individuals for controlling highly transmissible diseases. It allows for isolation or quarantine in interim housing rather than just their own homes. But it does not mention camps. All right, so it's saying that it's false. The state has appealed the judge's decision deeming the rule unconstitutional, but neither Hochul or other New York officials have proposed creating quarantine camps. Instead, the state aims to make the rule permanent and extend isolation and quarantine guidelines that have been in effect since March 2020. All right, so it's saying that it's false. All right, but as I was digging around looking into this, I did see this 11 quarantine camps. The Pentagon is setting up 11 quarantine camps on military bases near major airports across the U.S. in anticipation of an influx of American citizens returning from China in need of monitoring for the deadly coronavirus now being called COVID. Now, this may be old, because it's talking about this probably back from 2020, but yet and still, the U.S. military has quarantine camps. All right. And then you see, let's click on this Business Insider. I want to see what year. Okay, this is going back to 2020. And this was from Business Insider. 229, they're talking about 15 military-approved quarantine camps. And this article was in 2020. All right, let's continue looking into this. See, look at the years 2020. I'm not seeing anything for this year, 2024. All right, so again, although it's saying that, let's click on this PolitiFact, and this is from last year on PolitiFact. It says New York Governor Kathy Hochul wants quarantine camps and imprisonment if you're suspected of having a disease. But a rule that sparked the legal dispute does not call for quarantine camps. New York State has not set up quarantine camps and does not plan to. Experts told us the disputed rule allows the state to quarantine or isolate people who have been exposed to or have been diagnosed with a serious illness. That's a little short fact check. Now, it said that that's what the governor wanted, but the bill was never passed. But again, the U.S. military have quarantine camps. Okay, that is still in place. So, when doing research nowadays, you have to really be careful where you get your sources, right? Because there's a lot of there's good information, but there's also a lot of disinformation, you know. And you also have to be careful with AI as well, because remember, they program AI. There's information that I know I've found and I've researched years back that I look up the same information now and can't find, either I can't find the information, or they've changed the information, compared to when I looked up the same information years ago, was able to find certain details and facts. Now when I look it up, either I can't find it anymore or any longer, or they've changed it. They've changed the information. So you have to really look at everything. Look at what's going on, and kind of use your reasoning skills, and logic now when you're doing your research, right? Again, there's a lot of disinformation out there. But that's all I have for you in this video. This is King B News and Views with another video. All right, shout out to each and every one of you. Be careful out there during this July 4th so-called holiday. Be careful out there if you're celebrating that, and be safe. All right, love yourself unconditionally. Keep your loved ones close. Remember to plan, have multiple plans. Stay prepared. Wherever situation comes your way, you will be able to deal with it effectively. All right, protect the women and children, our babies. Our women, our children, our babies have been and are still under attack. Let's keep them safe. Men, let's stand up and keep our families, our children, our babies, our women safe. All right? And remember to pay attention out there. Don't get caught lacking. Don't get caught slipping. Head on a swivel. Be safe. Protect you and yours. But look out for each other. All right? And I will talk to you in the next video. It's King B News and Views. Peace.